This video is going to be a full Instagram automation guide. Now, these are some of the Instagram theme pages which I've grown myself. I've also grown some others which are on the screen here to 50,000. My biggest one ever, 500,000 followers. So I've grown a lot of pages. And what you're about to learn in this exact system is how I use these pages to generate between 7,000 and sometimes at the peak around 30K monthly from the Instagram pages. Now, full transparency, I'm recording this in April. This was last month, exactly how much I did, $11,708. Nothing too crazy, but not too bad. And I'll show you even from the get-go, right? Just so you can see this stuff is like actually legit. This was my very first week of monetizing with the system, which you're about to see today. And in my very first week, I got a $5,000 payout here. And then also that same week, I got a $1,500 payout. So in my very first week of using the system, I'm going to break down to you in this video. I made $6,500. I'm going to show you everything. I'm not going to hold any secrets back. So by the end of our time together, you'll have a complete roadmap of exactly what to do. What I need from you is I need your full focus for the next hour and a half because I'm going to go into so much detail here, and a pen and paper because if you want to take down notes, there's going to be some crazy sauce here. Now, I will just tell you this is not going to be some crappy Imangachi video, which is like with flashy edits all over the place. It's just going to be raw value. You can go watch that if you have a fried dopamine receptor and you have such a low attention span, you're a little kid. If you actually want to get educated and learn some real business stuff, then this is the video for you. Like I said, just stick through it. Don't check the comments. Don't like the video. Just actually watch it and actually learn from once, right? So real quick, before I go into all the details showing you exactly what to do, just a quick introduction to myself and kind of how I got to this point. Obviously my name is Mark Vine. I originally grew up in England with my parents and my brother. This is actually the house I grew up in. Maybe I shouldn't be putting this on YouTube, but whatever. I don't live there anymore. And I grew up in a very modest but comfortable home. So like my parents were never broke. They also were never like crazy rich. It was just kind of in between. My dad was a pastor. My mom never really worked like an official job and stuff. So we were comfortable. I'm not going to be one of those guys who's like, man, I was in the trenches and whatever. We were comfortable. And I was homeschooled in the UK until I know I lost the accent. I can still put on a little bit, but it's kind of gone for the most part. So I was homeschooled until I was about 11 years old, and then a few years later, my family moved to the United States. I now live in the state of Michigan and go to regular school now. So how I got started in Instagram automation though was so my first 2 years of high school, my freshman and my sophomore year, I did at a boarding school, and then junior and senior year, my second years of high school, I'm like at a regular school down the road and stuff. But my first 2 years, I was at a boarding school over in Pennsylvania, and when I got home from that boarding school for the summer, it was the end of my sophomore year. My parents were like, "All right, Mark, you need to find a job now, right?" So I was like, "Okay, screw this. What am I going to do?" So my job basically, which I got, was I was picking weeds for the neighbors. And in Michigan in the summer, it gets pretty hot, like 90, 95 degrees sometimes. It gets ridiculous sometimes, right? And, sure, I'm just pretty lazy about it, but I was there like in the heat, literally getting paid like $5 to $10 an hour below minimum wage, picking weeds. And I was like, freaking screw this, dude. I don't like this at all. And then also at that same time, it was the exact same summer, if you guys remember, when Andrew Tate became very popular. So like many of you, I was motivated by seeing others achieve financial freedom online. If you guys remember that summer when it was like 2022, 2023, I think, yeah. Back, I was like 16 years old at the time. This guy, Andrew Tate, was literally everywhere. Like, people at school were talking about him. If you scroll on TikTok, every video was his face. Like, the news articles, like literally, you could not avoid this guy. And as a young 16, yeah, I was 16, maybe I was, yeah, 15, 16, yeah, 16 years old kid at the time. Obviously, young guy, teenager, I became obsessed with him. I was like, man, this guy's insane. Like, dude, it was so motivating me. I was like, okay, I got to start making money online. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm actually going to start trying stuff. I'd always been kind of interested that year, but it was like, okay, I'm actually going to start trying stuff, right? So when I started, right, I went through the exact same trial and error process, which many of you have been experiencing, right? I know this because I went through this. I know pretty much everyone who starts out online for the first time, they go with this stuff, right? So I remember it's like I watched countless videos, tried multiple business models that didn't pan out, and I faced plenty of disappointment along the way, right? So I was watching Imangachi videos. I was watching these videos, like the top 10 side hustles if you're a student. Like, this is the best path to making 10,000 per month, 10,000 per month. Make $250 per day with this secret side hustle. You know what it is. And it's like all these drop shipping videos, print on demand videos, like affiliate marketing videos, all that stuff, right? Not like downing on any of those business models, but I'm just saying like the general stuff which you've probably seen with the flashy edits and all that stuff, right? And so when I actually started trying stuff, I actually like the first thing I tried copywriting for a bit, and I was like, maybe I'm gonna do a copyright agency, and I had literally tried it for like 2 weeks, and then I quit because I was like, man, this is just too complicated. Then I made a little bit with drop shipping, so I actually did like a couple $100 in drop shipping in terms of sales. Like I made like 150 to $200 ish, but I spent like $400 or $500 on ads just to get those sales because I used pretty much all the money that I was earning from my job of picking weeds and stuff, just dumped it all into ads and lost it. And then I found my first profitable venture of making money online with TikTok content. So that was the first time I ever made like profitable real money online. I made money with drop shipping, but it wasn't profitable, And like I said, it was posting this kind of content. So this right here was actually one of my first videos from my first successful account. The account's now at like almost 200K followers, but I actually ran a lot of the Sam Solo pages. So I had like three Sam Solo pages, one of them like 550, almost 600K followers. But I ran a lot of these pages, and this is how I originally started out. So before this, I tried a bunch of different TikTok pages, which didn't work. And then I eventually started developing some skills, became better at it and stuff. And then I did TikTok for a bit. I made a very good amount with TikTok, and it is a decent business model. The reason I don't do it anymore is they just don't pay as much anymore, really, focusing on that. But eventually, I discovered Instagram, so just using Instagram for business and making money, and that's when like everything changed. So when I say it completely transformed my financial situation, don't get me wrong, I was making good money with TikTok. I was making like 15. One of the months I did like almost 20 grand on TikTok, and overall, I think with TikTok I did over six figures. So I made like 110 to $130,000 just with TikTok. So I was making a good amount. But when I say it completely transformed my financial situation, that's the payout I showed you from the first week, 6,500. And it wasn't only that. With Instagram, I was developing something more long term, more sustainable. Whereas with TikTok, it's just like more of like a side hustle. I wasn't developing a real business, which I was with Instagram. And so I taking you through that before I get into the training to just show you I know exactly how it feels to try business model after business model without seeing results. I know exactly how it feels because I've done it before. I literally tried an agency, a little bit of copywriting, drop shipping, some other stuff in Andrew Tate's course when I joined. I know how it all feels, right? Without seeing results and watching others succeed while you get nowhere. And so I'm going to take you through everything you need to know here. And the strategies I'm about to share, they work whether you're just starting out or you already have a following that you haven't been able to monetize effectively. So this right here are both two people which I've helped out with their Instagram pages, 108K followers, 24 followers. Whether you're just starting out like Thomas over here, or you already have a big page or whatever, or a big following like Sudev over here, these strategies will help you, right? So what this training is not about, this is not about becoming an influencer. This is not about having to show your face or anything like that online. What this training is about building a profitable Instagram business, and it's about monetizing both the front end and the back end of your page. If that sounds confusing, just stick with it. I'm going to explain it all here in a second. That is the most powerful aspect, by the way, of what makes Instagram automation so good compared to other platforms. And by the way, if you have any questions throughout the video, leave a comment. I try to reply to them all. So let's talk about real quick why Instagram specifically presents such an incredible opportunity right now. Obviously, you guys know, massive platform, over 2 billion monthly active users using it now. It's like literally 1 in every 4 people in the world has it. And if you're in a Western country like the US or Europe, literally everyone has it. An incredible 90% of these users follow at least one business account. Right. And when I say a business account, that's like a more professional account which they're following. There's actually a category for business account. What this shows us is there's a lot of business and commerce of sales or whatever it may be happening on the Instagram platform. You've probably seen it. There's tons of people trying to sell their courses on Instagram. There's people trying to drop ship products on Instagram. The point is there's a lot of business that's going on there. And the followers, 90% of them are following a business account and are interacting with something like that. And so it shows you there's this huge potential. Like I always say, if there's hundreds of billions of dollars being sold monthly or however weekly or whatever on the Instagram platform, you just need to insert yourself into that huge pie and just take out a small percentage of it, and you could be making easily like 10, 20 grand per month. And the average, I shouldn't say easy, that's a little bit, I don't know, you get the point. It will take time to get there, but it's not hard to do. The average user spends 53 minutes daily scrolling through content, so there's a ton of monetization potential there. And yet, here's the really cool thing about Instagram. Despite these numbers, there's a massive untapped monetization potential that most creators completely overlook. And the reason for this is that they're focused on the wrong metrics and the wrong monetization methods. So you'll see this again, and I'll make this point. I'll go into this in more depth, right? But one of the biggest reasons why there's a lot of untapped monetization potential on Instagram is you could literally go and search on YouTube. Instagram automation tutorial, you won't see very many videos. You'll see like me, and then maybe like I can off the top of my head think of like maybe 3 or 4 other people who are consistently posting specifically about Instagram automation, and their videos don't even get that many views. Mine don't even either. Mine get like maybe a couple thousand views per video. On the other hand, if you go and search YouTube automation tutorial or TikTok automation tutorial, any of the other short form content platforms, by the way, like the video, I'd appreciate that. You'll see hundreds of videos with millions of views and thousands of people making videos about those platforms. Why? Because when you post on TikTok and YouTube, it's like simple. Just post and you get the views. You don't get paid very much, but it's like simpler, right? This is where on Instagram there's a lot of untapped potential because everyone is focusing on these other platforms. If you did Instagram now, it's there's so much more potential because there's not as many people who are trying to sell or as many pages in a certain niche, so there's less competition. The views will go to you because the Instagram algorithm will naturally push you if you're one of the few people in that niche. There's a lot of aspects like that which makes it a lot easier to succeed with this, which is actually one of the reasons I'm so focused on this. Now let me just take you through some beliefs which you might have around Instagram automation. The first ones you might think, oh, you need a huge following to make money. Couldn't be further from the truth. Now, obviously, there's a lot of pages out here with like 10, 20 million followers, and obviously, the more followers you have, the more money you will make. That goes without saying, right? We're not trying to grow an account to 10 followers and then stop. We're trying to grow an account as big as possible, but you don't need a huge following to make money. This is perhaps the biggest myth in the Instagram space. Look, you don't need 150,000 followers to succeed with this system, okay? What matters isn't how many followers you have today, it's the strategy you implement. I'll say this one more time, it's very important you understand this. What matters isn't how many followers you have today, it's the strategy you implement. And the reason for this is you have a lot of pages like this, right? 2.2 million followers. Nothing against this page, by the way. I actually follow the page. I think it's a pretty funny page or whatever, right? It's kind of like a British meme page, whatever, right? But it's a meme page, right? They have like 2.5 million followers. If you look at their monetization, you can tell they're barely making any money from their page, despite having 2.5 million followers. And it's because they're implementing the wrong strategy in their content. They're posting content which has no aspect of monetization to it. They're posting their form of monetization. They're trying to sell like merch. It's like if you're following a meme page, you're probably not a loyal fan of that meme page. You're just following it because you kind of like the content. You're not going to buy merch probably from that meme page, right? If you do, then it's going to be a very small percentage of people from your audience who buy. Point is, though, you could have all the followers in the world like this. Like this guy has 2.5 million followers. I would rather take a page with 100,000 followers or even with 50,000 followers, which is a good page in the right niche and all that kind of stuff, which has less followers, right? Because I know the monetization potential is so much more important. So you don't need this huge page with like millions of followers. Obviously, the more followers, the better. It obviously helps because it's easier to monetize a big page in general, but you don't need a huge amount of followers. Secondly, is people would think, oh, it takes years to build a profitable page. Now, this right here, for example, this is Shahi's account. He's a guy who I'm personally mentoring. I'm helping him one-on-one and stuff. He's grown to 63,000 followers. He's only made 122 posts, right? And he posts like 2 to 3 times per day. So he's been posting about, maybe like 3 months ish, and he's already got to that aspect there, making very good money from his page as well. And so it doesn't take like this huge it doesn't take this huge amount of time to build this huge following. There's literally been people I've helped who've literally in their first month hit like 50K followers. And in terms of monetization, literally one person who I helped, this was like ages ago, so his name was, man, I can't even, it probably seems like I'm lying right now, doesn't it? Because his name was, I forget his name, but he was some guy from Dubai. He was never in my mentorship, but I just messaged him a little bit on Instagram to help him. But he had about like 300 followers on his page at the time, and he made about $800 in the span of 2 weeks. So even with that small amount of followers, because he implemented the right strategy, I know it seems like I'm lying because I forgot his name. It was like months ago, and I've helped tons of people out. But yeah, so remember, I want you to really remember this saying, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. Sure, you're not going to get to like 3 million followers overnight. This is not going to happen. Rome wasn't built in a day, but you don't need Rome to make money. You don't need the 3 million followers or the 5 million followers or whatever it is to make the money. So you're not going to get to the 3 million followers overnight, but you don't need the 3 million followers to make money. You just need an account which is implementing the right strategy, which I'm going to break down for you here. The second belief, which you might be thinking, is you need to be an expert or show your face. So I get this one a lot. It's like, okay, you're doing it faceless, but then people on top of that, they're like, oh, I'm doing it faceless, but don't I need to be an expert in my topic to, explain everything and make good content around it? This right here, this account, by the way, is another guy who I'm personally mentoring. His name is Summit. guy from India, 70,000 followers now at the time of recording. This is an old screenshot, but you'd think, right? And this page is the perfect example of it, where you'd think to yourself, okay, this niche, by the way, is in the niche of looks maxing. So literally, the looks maxing niche is how can I become more attractive as a guy? That's like literally exactly what it is. You'd think that if you're running a page where you're posting tips on how to become more attractive and all this different kind of stuff, and you're teaching people stuff, you'd think, okay, if I'm gonna literally make a page where I'm teaching people how to become more attractive, shouldn't I need to show my face and teach people how to do it and show them that it actually works for myself? No, you don't. You just need to provide good value with your information. And this page is the perfect example of it. Because if you can do it in the looks maxing niche, you can do it in any other niche, right? If you can like do this without showing your face in the looks maxing niche, like I said, you can do it in any other niche. So you got to understand this is because theme pages and Instagram, faceless pages, they're built around topics, not personalities, right? So you could have like a page where you're posting content yourself. You could have a page, for example, around Cristiano Ronaldo. That's something around personality. On the other hand, with the faceless page, you're not about the personality of that specific person or whoever it is or personal brand. It's around a certain topic. So instead of being around Cristiano Ronaldo, now it's about soccer in general, right? So the second one is Instagram doesn't pay creators, right? People are like Instagram doesn't pay creators, and that's true. Instagram doesn't pay creators. It's true that Instagram does not have a direct creator payment program like YouTube or TikTok. This leads many to believe that the platform isn't profitable, right? It leads a lot of people to think that the platform isn't profitable. And it's like, oh, so let me just go do this or do that instead. Instagram's not as good because of that. The truth is, this is actually where our advantage lies. And I'm going to show you this again. I've made over $100,000 with TikTok. I'm not saying that number to flex. I'm saying that to show you, like, I've had experience in this, right? I've done TikTok automation for over a year. I've dabbled in YouTube automation a little bit, seen some success with that as well. Not a lot, but I've made a lot of money with these other platforms. I'm doing Instagram though. I'm not doing TikTok. Maybe my opinion will change in the future if they update the platform and this different kind of stuff. But this is actually where the potential in lies, right? Because while everyone else, like I said, everyone else is going to do YouTube and TikTok, not many people are doing Instagram automation. So it leaves a lot of untapped potential there for you. Now, most page owners, they have followers, but no monetization strategy. And like I said, that's exactly where our advantage lies because people, you've seen it before. There's accounts literally there with sometimes millions of followers, most of the time with a couple 100,000 followers. They have no clue how to monetize their page. And so they're not even focused on it. They're not even really doing their page. And so other people see that they're like, oh, this guy can't monetize his page. I'm not going to do it. It's just because they're simply implementing the wrong strategy, right? So this is the correct strategy. And I don't want to, my videos, I'll say this right now, they're a documentary, they're not a sermon. So I'm not telling you what you have to do. I'm just telling you what's worked for me. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, then no problem. By the way, subscribe to the channel. The front end is how you make money when someone first enters your ecosystem. So like I said, front end and back end monetization. And I'm going to break down practically how to actually do these two things. But you want to implement something on the front end where you monetize people. This is when people first find out about your thing, right? On the other hand, you have the back end. Now, the back end is how you make money from people who are already in your world, already following you, already in your Instagram ecosystem, regularly viewing your page and stuff like that, right? Now, let me make our camera a little bit smaller so you can read this. The magic happens when you implement both simultaneously. And this creates multiple income streams from the same audience. You can't really do this almost nearly as well with other platforms if you're doing it faceless, right? So this is where you're monetizing on the front end when people first find out about you, and then you're also monetizing the audience you already have. And so this is to kind of break that down practically for you. A great analogy to kind of understand this more practically is like, okay, let's say for example, you sign up for a gym membership, right? When people find out about the gym, they go and sign up for the gym membership and they pay you, I don't know, $500 for the gym membership. That's the front end monetization. When people first find out about your gym or your service or whatever, they first find out about your gym, they sign up for the monetization. That's the front end. You just made money off of them on the front end. On the other hand, you have monetization on the back end. And so that's when, okay, you have 300 people in your gym. Well, maybe you start selling supplements to them, or maybe you start selling merch, or maybe you have personal trainers which you sell them. Back end monetization. So this is like, you want a way that you'll make money just when people find out about your page and start following you and stuff like that, and find out about your Instagram ecosystem. And then you also want a way of monetization on the back end of when they've been following you for a while and all those followers who are already following you, right? So let me just give you like the 30,000 foot view of the Instagram funnel of what I mean when I say front end and back end monetization. Now, the 30,000 foot view, that's like a bird's eye view, the overview of it, right? So it starts with traffic from your theme page, right? So for example, this is another guy who I'm helping out mentoring. He's at like 70K followers now. So This is an old screenshot, but it starts with traffic from your Instagram theme page, right? You need traffic, right? Where do you drive this traffic to? Well, the traffic on who are following your page, who are seeing your videos, they encounter strategic content designed to drive that traffic, right? Traffic, 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 traffic. You get the point, though. People, when I say like the first kind of traffic is just people finding out about your page, they're first seeing your videos, they're following you, whatever. And then just because they're following you doesn't mean they're going to actually go to your link in your bio or sign up for whatever you're promoting. You then need to have strategic content, which is specifically designed to drive that traffic into your funnel, right? Or to whatever you're promoting to them. Right. So this could be something like, for example, what we're doing with him is we're implementing a comment strategy where it's like comment AI, and I'll send you the full guide I put together to help you start creating videos like mine, step by step, no guesswork. This traffic is then driven to your front end monetization. So your front end monetization may be different for different accounts and whatever, but the main one, which I highly recommend, is implementing a newsletter strategy. So this, by the way, don't just go and do this without like first studying, because it seems simple, but there's a little bit more to it than what meets the eye. But the simple basic premise of it is you're driving people to where they'll enter their email here. And I know this sounds too good to be true, but literally when they just enter your email, it says enter your email, start now. When they click enter your email and subscribe to your newsletter, that's it. You get paid pretty much, right? That's pretty much all they have to do. You get paid without them having to buy something from you, or you have to sell them something or anything like that. They just enter their email for free, subscribe to your newsletter, you get paid. Then that's your front end monetization. When people are first finding out about you, this is very good because it's low friction. You don't, you're not going to sell something to someone if they just found out about your account, right? You then implement that other stuff in the back end monetization. So that's why I said finally back end monetization happens through multiple revenue streams. So this right here is me and my team. So this is someone I'm working with. I'm not mentoring him, but he's a coach inside of my personal mentorship. And he's literally done like over $20,000 in the past month. In the month before that is like even more than that, literally just from this one digital product. And he doesn't even have like a huge page, but he's made a very, very good amount from this, right? So this is where you have backend monetization. Now this is on the backend specifically, because like I said, if someone signs up at your gym, it's a lot easier to sell supplements to someone who's already been at your gym a couple months than some random person on the street. If you just go out in the middle of the street and you're like, buy my supplements, no one's gonna buy that, right? Instead, get them into your gym first, get them into your ecosystem. That's the front end. You monetize there, and then the stuff which is a lot harder to sell or oftentimes a lot harder to monetize with, that's where you monetize on the back end, because then you have all that time before where you can nurture people, you can put them through sequences and all this different kind of stuff to then monetize them well, right? So you got to understand though, real quick, traffic is the lifeblood of your system, right? Traffic is incredibly important because you could have the best system in the entire world, but if you have 0 followers, 10 views on your videos, you're not going to make any money. Obviously, there's the flip side of that where it's like you could have the biggest page where you're getting hundreds of thousands of views, but if you have a bad system, you're not going to make any money. But you do understand in both circumstances, you need traffic, right? So everything starts with eyeballs under content. This means traffic from your Instagram page, right? If you're getting views, you're going to be able to drive traffic from those views, especially if you implement the strategy I'm about to break down for you. So some posts, you got to understand, some posts are just regular posts, right? So some posts are just like you're just posting content in that niche, just to kind of entertain people or educate them or whatever it is. You're just making the post just to make the post, to grow your page, to get views. There's no real like specific purpose behind that post in terms of driving traffic somewhere or anything like that. Sometimes you're just making posts just to make posts. On the other hand, some posts you design with a strategic call to action. So this is like from one of my posts: follow the account, comment this word, like this video, right? You have like strategic action behind it. Now, when it comes to this, right, with the two styles of content, you want to find an somewhat even balance between them. So it doesn't have to be a 50-50 balance between it. You don't have to like do exactly one post like this, then one post like this, then one post. It doesn't have to be like that, but you want to find a good balance. You don't want to lean too much in one direction. And I'll explain why here in a second. But essentially, you lean too much in one direction, that's going to have its negative consequences. You do in the other direction, that's also going to have its negative consequences. So you got to understand, you want to balance. It doesn't have to be 50-50. It could be like 60-40, 70-30, either way, but you get the point. Now, when it comes to this strategic content to actually drive traffic from your page, one of the most powerful techniques that I've developed is what I call the common trigger strategy. So you've probably seen it a lot on Instagram where people are just like, click the link in my bio, right? They're like promoting something in their videos, and then at the end they're like, hey, and if you want to get my guide or you want to sign up to this or whatever it is, they're like, click the link in my bio. This is a huge mistake. Sometimes it can work decently on pages, Don't get me wrong, I've even done it on some of my pages. But I feel like it's a huge mistake which a lot of pages make, where instead of what you could do is you could use this comment trigger strategy, which is much, much better. So you'll see in pretty much all my pages which I run, or all the different like comments or posts which I make, I always say comment this word instead of just going straight to this, right? So if you don't understand how this works, there's a tool called ManyChat, which is basically, it's a bot, right? Which you connect it to your Instagram account, and what it allows you to do is you to set up automation. So you can set up an automation. Okay, when someone comments this word on my page or my post, then they automatically get sent a DM, and ManyChat will automatically send them a DM. And there's a lot more you can do with that compared to just a link in the bio. So what this does is this captures people into your ecosystem. That's the first thing it does. If you tell someone to click the link in your bio, they could go click the link in your bio. They may sign up to, let's say you're trying to sell them on a product, right? They may go and buy the product now, but most likely they won't buy the product then. But point is, whether or not they buy the product then, you only have one chance to sell them the product. That's when they click the link in your bio. On the other hand, with ManyChat, you're capturing these people into your ecosystem, so you can put them through a whole automation where you're like, they comment, you drive them to the page with that automation, and then maybe an hour later you send them a reminding DM like, hey man, did you check it out? What did you think of it? And you can set that up in the automation. You also have their contact info. Like, you can literally get a contacts list on ManyChat, and then at any time you want, pretty much, you can go and DM those people. So you're capturing people into your ecosystem. There's so much more you can do with it. And this also, the other thing is that Instagram, when people click the link in your bio, just think about it logically from Instagram's perspective. Instagram wants to keep people on the Instagram platform for as long as possible. When they see that people are going from your video to clicking the link in your bio, people are leaving the Instagram platform from your video. So naturally, what is the algorithm going to do? Going to push your video less, because they're seeing, okay, once people watch this video, they're leaving the platform, which is exactly what they don't want, right? And so, by the way, real quick, if you want my personal mentorship to help you out with everything one-on-one, I'll leave a top link in the description for that. You can go apply there. It's very selective with who I pick, but you can apply, see if you get it. Next is with the ManyChat funnel, what also increases engagement on your video. So just think about it logically. If you tell people, comment this word, you can literally get tens of thousands of people sometimes commenting on your video. What do you think tens of thousands or even thousands or even just hundreds of comments on your videos are going to do? Obviously, it's going to boost it into the algorithm because it's increasing that engagement, right? And not only that, you can get like bonus engagement points on it, right? So you can say, like, in your bio or in your video, comment this word and save this video. And naturally, you'll just get a lot of people saving, a lot of people commenting. So it's a huge engagement hack to just get a ton more engagement on your videos. And a really underrated aspect is it increases watch time on your video. A lot of people don't understand how. You're like, how would that increase watch time on your video? Now, this is a very niche specific tip, but think about it like this. If people are watching a 10-second video, or let's say a 20-second video, if yours a 20-second video, at the end of that video, they get to the point where it's like, at the end of the video, you make the call to action. You're like, comment this keyword. What happens is all those people who go and comment that keyword, they open up the comment section. What happens while they're commenting on the video is just looping and replaying again and again and again in the background. And so that just loops, that increases your average view duration so much. It can actually have a huge result in a lot more people, viewing the video and your video getting boosted more. So you can see on my pages, like some videos I've gotten, at one point, my record, I literally got 150,000 comments on one video at one point. My second place best video ever, I got 90,000 comments. It's actually my pinned video on Cobra Lesson, if you want to see it there. But like I said, once someone comments with your trigger keyword, your automated system just takes over. You don't really have to worry about it from there once you set it up. So now this has all been an introduction, and I'm only 30 minutes in. I'm going to go into so much depth here in a second, right? Like I said, go watch a freaking Iman Gotchi video if you want flashy edits. But the funnel overview is you've got traffic. So this is kind of a summary of the funnel, just so you understand before I go into full detail on everything. Is you have traffic from your page. This traffic sees content with specific action steps. That's driving them to your front end monetization system. And then from there, once they're in your front end monetization, you're going to monetize them with your back end monetization system too. Monetization, freaking everywhere, right? And as a bonus, you want to include the common trigger strategy, right? So now that you understand the funnel, or at least have a general idea of it, let's talk about how you can actually implement the system for yourself. And it's a 6-phase walkthrough. I'm going to take you through here, showing you exactly how to do everything. So, like I said, I'm going to walk you through in detail, showing you exactly what to do and in what order. Phase 1 of this 6-phase step is selecting your profitable niche. So when you're starting on Instagram, you could have a niche where you're posting about cars. You could have niche where you're posting about gym, fitness, whatever, right? You could have a niche where you're posting about soccer. You have a niche where you're posting about money, making money online. You could literally post about anything. Now, that does not mean that you should do everything, right? Because some niches are very good, some niches are very bad. And your niche is incredibly important. Everything begins with choosing the right niche. Because, like I said, you don't want to get to the point where you spent all that effort and all that time and energy and stuff to build a huge page with millions of followers or hundreds of thousands or even just tens of thousands of followers. You don't want to put all that energy and time into it to get to the point where you have a million followers and you're like, oh crap, I have all these followers now. Like, can I even monetize these? I'm not even in a good niche. You want to make sure from the get go you're choosing a good niche so that that does not happen to you. And like I said, it's incredibly important. It's like when you're building a house. When you're building a house, what do you put the most time and energy and focus into? Right? You put it into building the foundation down here of the house, right? The rest is important, sure, but the most important aspect is the foundation, because you can build this beautiful house, but if the foundation is crap, the moment you get a hurricane or a tornado or something, the whole house is gone, right? So this is why it's incredibly important. You want to start with a very good foundation, just like you're building a house. And like I said, this is perhaps the most critical decision you'll make, because it determines the audience you'll attract and the monetization opportunities available to you, right? So when it comes to determining the audience you'll attract, let's say, for example, you start a page about baseball. If you start a page about baseball, you're naturally gonna attract a US audience, right? Why? Because I mean, who the heck outside of the US watches baseball? Literally nobody, right? Like, nobody is interested in that outside of the US. Maybe like some Dominican country or something, but you get the point. You're going to naturally attract a US audience. On the other hand, if you posted about, you know, cricket, you're probably going to attract a very high Indian audience. Why? Because there's literally like over a billion Indians out there, and a lot of them like cricket. Like, that's the main sport where it's played. So just naturally, you can attract the audience you want. And then also the monetization opportunities available to you. So if you're doing a niche about this or a niche about this, there's going to be different forms of monetization which will be available to you or will not be available to you. And so it's very important that you pick that there. So the key is finding a niche with 3 essential qualities. The first quality is that it must have viral potential. So you want to, with Instagram here, right? It's not like YouTube where you're growing like a micro personal brand. Like my YouTube channel, for example, I'm fully transparent with this. Like, I make money by selling stuff, coaching and stuff like that to people on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has like not even that many subs at the time of recording this, but I'm making a lot of money from this. Why? Because it's high quality viewers. On the other hand, with Instagram, you don't really have that aspect. So with Instagram, you want to grow a page potentially and hopefully as big as possible. You want to get as many views as possible. You want to go viral. Think about it like this. If you're running a page around Cristiano Ronaldo versus running a page around this random golf guy, by the way, no disrespect to him, but which page do you think will just naturally get more followers, get more views? Like, you could have the best content, you could script it perfectly and everything, but if the page is around this guy, it's like there's almost like a limit on your page where there's only so much certain amount of people who are going to be interested in this. Like, you could show me the best content in the world around makeup, right? Like makeup tutorials. It could be perfectly edited, perfectly scripted, perfectly hooked. If you show it to me, like, I don't care how good the video is, I'm not going to watch it because I'm not simply not interested in that, right? And so you want to think like, is there enough people out there where my page or posting this kind of content has the potential to then go viral, right? Because if you're posting the same exact style of content, same exact quality, same exact effort on a Ronaldo page versus a page about this guy, the Ronaldo one's naturally going to do better because he literally has hundreds of millions, literally billions of fans. So you're tapping into a niche which has a ton of potential. Let's say you're doing a niche around making money online. That can apply to almost everybody. Almost everybody wants to learn how to make money online, and so there's a huge potential for virality with your post, right? Because it applies to so many people. On the other hand, if you were to do like very, very specific, if you were to do a page about how to make money as an investment firm doing over $1 million a year, probably not going to have as much viral potential there, right? The second quality of the niche is that you must be able to promote something. So just do this exercise if you're thinking of a niche. Just think like, could I say potentially in this niche, click the link in my bio for this, or comment X to get my blank, right? Because if you're running a meme page, like, what are you going to say? What are you going to promote in the link in your bio? Are you going to say, click the link in my bio for more memes? It's like there's nothing you could promote there, right? So you want to think through your niche. Just think through it in general, right? And this really comes down to having like an educational aspect. So if you were to do like a soccer page, for example, it's like, okay, I could say, click the link in my bio to learn how to become a better soccer player. It may not be the best form of monetization or the best call to action or whatever I'm promoting to people, but it's at least something. You want to just think, is there something that I could promote here to people compared to a page like a meme page where you could have millions of followers, but there's nothing you can even promote. There's nothing your audience would even be interested in learning from you or something that you'd have to give them. If you have a money about learning how to make money online with whatever business model, dropshipping, for example, a ton of people will want to make money on dropshipping. If you say, hey, you can make $10,000 per day, or, all the random claims that people make online with dropshipping, comment X to get my free guide, a ton of people will want to take that. On the other hand, with a meme page, if you're like, click the link in my bio to get more memes, like nobody's going to do that. Nobody's interested in that. Now, this is a very important point, which I've never even mentioned before, but this is incredibly important and arguably the most important, is you want to consider audience pain points. So is there a huge pain point within this niche or within the audience of who would be watching my page if I were to do this niche? And this is because when you have a huge audience pain point, people are willing to spend money. And even if you're like, okay, maybe I'm promoting something for free, well, even if you're doing something for free and you're not spending money, just in general, people will be more engaged. And most importantly, people will be more ready to take action, right? It's like if I told you right now, like some random thing, right, where it's not really a huge pain point, like maybe your phone charger doesn't charge that fast. I'm like, I have this crazy new technology, this new phone charger. If you connect it to your charger, it's going to charge 10% faster. It's like most people don't really care about that. It's like, okay, my phone charges decently well. Sure, it'd be cool if it charged faster, but I don't have like this huge pain point around it. On the other hand, if you're going up to someone like, hey, I saw you just got surgery on your leg, you probably need this pill to help you alleviate the pain or something. There's a huge pain point around that. So you could charge way more for that. People will be more likely to take the action for that, right? And so very similar to the example I just gave, if you were to do a page around this is a perfect page with a huge audience pain point around like a niche like this, right? Of back pain tips. Why? Well, just think about it logically for 1 second, right? Think about it logically for just 1 second. People have back pain, right? For my US viewers, maybe you're in a different country where healthcare is free, but for my US viewers who just get screwed over every time you got to go to the hospital, like literally, I won't even tell you the story, but I had like this tiny operation done on my toe, like kind of broke my toe ish, and they literally charged like over 1,000 for it. Like it was like a 30-minute thing. They just wrapped a bandage around it. Not even joking. So if you're in the US, you know the struggles of how much they charge for healthcare. If you're outside, lucky you, right? I remember when I was in the UK, everything was free. Really nice compared to this, right? However, with back pain, right, people in the US and people around the world literally will spend tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars to get surgery to fix their spine or get some super complicated surgery. You get the point. They're spending thousands of dollars here to try and fix this or alleviate this pain point. That's how strong the pain point is to them. Now, you don't think they're going to spend just maybe $20 on your guide or your course digital product that you put together to promote on how they can fix their back pain? Of course they will. These guys are spending tens of thousands of dollars to try and fix this pain point. They're going to spend $20 or a couple $100 on whatever you're promoting to them or you're giving to them. Or if it's a free thing, they're going to be so much more motivated to take action for that because people don't take action for something cool. They take action when they have a pain point, right? It's like you can add value, you can like get this new thing, or you can alleviate value. People are more motivated to take action when they have a pain point and they want to get rid of it, right? So some of the most profitable niches, I'll just give you the kind of rundown, is you got personal finance. So that could be like how to make money online with drop shipping, just making money online in general. It could also be investing. Like there's someone who I'm mentoring right now. He has like 150,000 followers, making good money. His pages around investing, but that kind of niche of like making money online, investing, stocks, crypto. You could have one very specific about drop shipping. I literally know a drop shipping page. And the guy with the drop shipping page, literally, I'm not even joking. I made a YouTube video where I showed the proof and everything of this. If you want to check it out, literally makes around $29 million per month with this page. Not even joking. Completely faceless page. The page is called Dropship, by the way, if you can search it up. But that's a very good one. Artificial technology versus software. I have a lot of people I'm mentoring who have pages in this one. Very, very good niche. There's just so many different avenues of monetization which you can go down. It's very easy to grow a page in this niche. So yeah, very good one there. Health and fitness is very good. There's huge audience pain points around this. And so there's also a lot of monetization opportunities. Like you can affiliate physical products. You can sell digital products around it. You can do a newsletter around it. There's a lot of aspects there. Relationship/personal development, you could kind of include those two in one-ish, but those also work very well. And then also a more general one could also be like if you just have a specific hobby where there's very, very dedicated enthusiasts around that specific hobby. So as long as people are passionate around that hobby, maybe they have a pain point around it, that can also work well. Now, when you're evaluating your niche's potential, I ask myself, and you probably want to ask yourself these three questions, right? So ask yourself these three questions. Do people in this niche actively spend money to solve their problems? Do they? If they do, then that's a good thing. If they don't, then that's probably a niche you want to avoid. Are there successful influencers already monetizing in this space? So even like influencers who are showing their face, because what it shows you is there's a lot of people out there which you can study from. So if you're in like the gym niche, you can go to other gym creators who are showing their face. You can study like, okay, what's working for these people, what's not working for these people over here. Okay, maybe I should model my product around here, maybe my messaging, maybe I can clip up videos of this guy and model my style after him. You get the point. There's a lot of aspects you can learn from and study there. And then lastly, you want to ask yourself, are there recurring purchases or high ticket items? So recurring purchases just means like you could charge people monthly for something, right? Or high ticket items, so where you're charging like $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 for something. I know you're probably thinking like, there's no way I could charge $5,000 for a product. Trust me, you can do it. You just got to provide enough value to price discrepancy and display that in your audience. If you want help, like I could literally create something like that which you could charge for. Click the top link at the bio. We can do a call, see if you're a good fit for me to help you out. But you definitely want to include either one or the other of those in some way or another in your backend monetization system, because if you're not, you're missing out on a lot of monetization potential there, right? Now, you want to just think about it like this, right? High engagement with minimal monetization is the sweet spot because this indicates demand without saturation. So there's obviously, you guys know supply and demand. Everyone learned this in their economics class. When there's a lot of demand without a lot of supply, there's a lot of potential for you to just slide your product or slide your page or your niche right in there and be successful with it. So this one here, like I said, this guy I'm personally mentoring, his name's Summit. This page, we chose this niche, the looks maxing niche, because we saw that there's a ton of people, like literally every guy. If you told some guy out there, like, hey, would you like to just suddenly become incredibly attractive, like the most attractive guy in the world? Who's going to say no to that? Everyone's going to say yes, obviously. So there's high engagement, like a ton of people are interested in becoming more attractive. But we saw that in this specific niche of looks maxing, there are some other pages, but most of them aren't monetizing with their own digital product or anything like that. Most of them are just kind of like meme pages around it. And so we figured, okay, if we can have a form of monetization here, that's product market discrepancy right there, where there's a lot more demand than there is supply. And so it's going to make it very easy for us to succeed. Now, last tip I'll give you on the niche before I move on to phase two is that if you are a beginner, for beginners, I recommend starting in a niche you're already familiar with. So, this guy right here, Sam Sulek, he's a bodybuilder. When I first started on TikTok, right, when I first made my money on TikTok, and sure, TikTok, Instagram, short form content at the end of the day, when it comes to creating and posting and stuff like that. When I started on TikTok, I was doing like all these different pages in these different niches. Like I did a page about fishing. I did not know crap about fishing, right? I mean, I'd fished like once or twice before in my life. Didn't know a thing about it, right? Like I tried these different pages in these different niches, trying to figure it out, and I didn't really have any understanding around it. And then when I switched over to doing a page just in the gym niche or about like a gym influencer, I was successful with it. And I think a big aspect of that is as a beginner, I'd already been working out in the gym for like over a year at that point. So, and obviously watching other gym content and, just being in that environment, of no understanding, because essentially, if you haven't been working out in the gym, you're not going to really understand what creatine and protein powder and, PPL splits and all this different specific stuff about working out, which that stuff definitely has somewhat of an effect. It's not the hugest effect, but it does have an effect if you understand your niche more in terms of how successful you'll be with that. Now, this is like if you're a beginner. If you already have experience in growing pages and stuff, like I could go and do a page about makeup, right? And I could learn and understand it, and I could probably be successful with it. But if you're a beginner and you're first getting into it, it's going to be easier as like an entryway to get into it. Find a niche you already have maybe some experience in or some understanding and stuff like that, right? So, by the way, we're not even halfway through. We're at phase one out of phase six. Really appreciate if you drop a like on this video and subscribe. Like I said, I'm just trying to provide as much value here to you as possible. So, phase one is the niche, and the summary of the niche is you have the three qualities of the niche. It must have viral potential. You must be able to promote something from the niche, and there must be an audience pain point from the niche. If you have those three checked off and you think you do, then evaluate your niche's potential. And if you're a beginner, pick a niche which you're already familiar with. Once you've got your niche, phase two comes down to creating your content strategy. So this is something which you've probably heard me say a million times if you've watched my videos before. Once you've selected your niche, it's time to develop your content strategy. Now, a lot of people have the misconception, just in online business in general, but specifically around content creation. They have the misconception that, like, okay, I'm going to create content. A lot of people think creating content, YouTube, is like all the same thing. And so on YouTube, when you're creating content like this video right now, what you're watching, I took literally hours out of my day, like literally hours, to script out this entire video, tens of hours actually. Like I did like 7 hours putting this all together for you guys. Um, so when it comes to YouTube, like I had to take that time to script it, and I have to have my own unique opinions and stuff and thoughts about different people, different aspects of this stuff, and I had to have expertise in my niche and all. There's like all this complicated stuff where I got to be really authentic and stuff. If I just went and copied another YouTuber word for word, it's not going to work the same, right? And so with YouTube, you have like all this different, and even when you're doing YouTube Faceless, it's still the same, right? When you're creating content on a platform like YouTube, or even you're just doing anything else in life where you have to show your face, like if you're creating a clothing brand, you can't just go copy another clothing brand. If you're creating a YouTube video, right? Like the reason Sam Sulek is because of who he is, right? The way he talks and the different beliefs he has and the hat he wears and like the physique he has, all this specific thing. You can't just go and copy him exactly, right? And it's not going to work for you because people are going to be like, man, you're just copying this guy over here. With Instagram, it's completely different. With Instagram, you don't have to worry about like creating original content or, I mean, don't just steal other people's videos, but you get the point. It's completely different where you're not having to come up with your own really smart idea or authentic account or unique value proposition through, like, all you're doing is you're not repurposing the wheel, right? You're not reinventing the wheel. With Instagram, when it comes to creating content, simply repurpose content or ideas which have already done well for others. And this is like a fireproof way where it's like so easy to succeed like this with a page, right? So recently, like I started a new page of someone I'm helping out, brand new, like literally posted like 10 videos, already over 100 followers, consistently getting around like 1,000 to a couple thousand views per video. And the reason for that is because we simply just repurposed ideas and content which work for other people, right? Literally the same principle work for another beginner I'm mentoring right now. His name is Thomas. You can literally go and search up his account. By the way, it's called physique.slayers in the gym niche. He is now consistently, like every single video, getting anywhere from 1 to 3,000 views per video. And he just started out like a couple weeks ago, already doing very well. So this works as you're a beginner or if you already have a big page, because what you're doing is, let's say you post 100 videos. If you post in each of those 100 videos, it's already done well for other people, like the idea or that content strategy behind it or the idea behind the video, what made it go viral. If you do that across 100 posts of yours, you're going to get at least a couple that go viral. And overall, you're going to get consistently very good views in relation to your page. So this is a great example. And this is actually the account. Like I literally set up the account for the guy, started posting on it. This right here was a big page. I went onto their page. I found the content which already did well in this niche, the AI niche. I took it. I recreated it. Now, obviously, it's a smaller page, so I might not get the tens of millions of views it did. But in relation to how many followers I had with just starting on the page, it did very well for me. And so you can see here, I repurposed it. I took this clip. I chopped it up a little bit. I put it in my own format, changed, obviously, the name and the logo and stuff to my own page. You can see also, change the text in there, change the format, the sizing of the video, cut out some parts here, move it around a little bit. But the actual video here, which is what made this piece of content go viral, is the same one I use here. And this guy just took this piece of content from a YouTube video he found about it and then repurposed it. I took it from him and repurposed it. So you don't want to just outright steal and download someone else's video and then re-upload it, but take aspects of that video or take certain things of that video, recreate it, repurpose it, be creative with it. But you want to model your content after what's already done well for other people, right? So this is just another example here. You can see right here, the idea of the video, what made this video go viral was the actual text, the content of the video, because otherwise it would just be a picture of Andrew Tate. When I share my narcissistic and psychotic views with bro, and he actually agrees. When I share my notes, took the idea of the video, changed the text, changed the format of the video a little bit, the sizing, changed the music in the background, things like that. Made it my own original piece of content, uploaded it, and it did well for me in relation to my page, right? So when you do that time and time again, when every single piece of content that you post is proven to already have worked before, the chances of you succeeding with your page are so high. So how can you implement this specific strategy now? Well, what you want to do is you want to go to other accounts in your similar niche. So for example, if I'm in the Andrew Tate niche, I'll go to a bunch of other Andrew Tate accounts. Then what I'll do is on those accounts, I'll look for their average views. So if you have a page with 0 followers and your average views are getting like 10 views, and then you get out of nowhere 70,000 views on one of your videos, it's like, okay, this piece of content went viral for you. On the other hand, if a page with 1 million followers gets 70,000 views, that content probably, it didn't perform very well for them. It didn't go viral, right? So it's all about relation, right? It's relative. So what you want to do is you want to look like, what are their average views? What are they usually getting on their videos? So for example, this page here, his average views, he's usually getting like 50 to 60, 70,000 views. But boom, he has this one piece of content which got 1 million views. So this content outperformed all the other ones. You want to find these outliers and these outperformers which did well in views compared to the other ones. And so those are the ones that you want to take the ideas from to then go ahead and repurpose, right? And so what you want to do with those is, by the way, take those pieces of content and basically just save them. So the Instagram feature, obviously, just save videos. If you, for example, just saved 10 pieces of content on each page, find 5 pages, at the end of that, you have 50 pieces of content you can repurpose. Love the thumbs up, by the way. You should drop a thumbs up on the video. I don't want to like ask you for that time and time again, but that was a perfect moment to do that. So if you save this, at the end of that, you're gonna have like literally 50 videos, which you can then go and repurpose content from and repurpose ideas and different things like that, right? Now you got to understand this principle, and I kind of already touched on this a little bit, but some content builds audience and gets views, other content drives traffic. I'll say it again. Some content builds audience and gets views, other content just drives traffic. Right. So you got to understand the difference. There's a difference between these two. And like I said, you want to have like a pretty evenish split between these two. Doesn't have to be 50-50. You could post like 60%, 40%, 70%, 30%. I would say anything more than that is probably bad. But the point of this is the balance is critical, because if you lean too far in either direction, your results will suffer. Like I said, you can post content which is promoting something you have, and then you can just post regular content. If you only ever post content which is promoting something, this is a mistake I made. You're going to end up with an audience which will unfollow you very easily, not a very loyal audience. You're not going to nurture any of those people who are following you, and you're probably not going to get as many views or grow your page as much. So you end up with a smaller page. People will unfollow you a lot, not going to build a loyal audience, right? On the other hand, if you lean all the way in the other direction where you're only posting content just to get views and grow your page, you might end up with a lot of views and a lot of followers, but you're not going to monetize it. You're not going to make any money from it. So what happens is when you have a mix of those, like an even split, the magical thing is that your page will grow at the same time as monetization. So a lot of people are like, oh, on TikTok, for example, you have to hit 10K followers before you can get monetized. On Instagram, there's literally people who I've helped have literally made their first post on their first day turn on the monetization system. The guy's name was Mika. Mika, his last name was Doris. Helped him out, like, this was a month ago, a couple months ago, but he made $70 on his first day. Like, okay, $70 isn't that much, but the point is he monetized on his first day. And so with this content strategy, you can do that. Maybe not on your first day, but you get the point. Now, when it comes to getting views, a lot of people are like, what are the specific hacks to getting views? It's like, what are the specific hacks? Do I need to post at this certain time, use these certain hashtags? No. What you need is you need to reverse engineer. Now, I know that sounds like some fancy term or whatever I came up with. What does reverse engineering mean? Reverse engineering means reversing the process of your end goal. So if your end goal, for example, is you want to end up with this certain physique, what you do is you say, okay, I want to have a 6-pack. Okay, to have a 6-pack, well, I need to be on this certain diet. Okay, to be on this certain diet, I need to do this. And you work your way backwards. So with this, it's like, okay, for me to get 1 million views on a video, what do I need to do? I need to think about it from Instagram's perspective. And so what Instagram's perspective is, they value 2 things on your video. They value watch time and they value engagement. The reason for this is not because they just randomly care about your metrics. The reason is because Instagram makes money when people are here on their phones scrolling through reels. You've probably seen it. You'll get sponsored posts or ads which pop up through your reels. Now, whenever you watch those reels, Instagram makes money from you, right? For getting people to watch ads. So Instagram wants as many people on the platform, right? Because the more people, the more ads will get watched as long as possible. Because the longer you're on the platform, the more ads you watch. You'll watch 1, you'll watch 2, you'll watch 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ads all at once. So Instagram wants people on the platform, as many people on the platform, and they want those people on the platform for as long as possible. So this is why I said the content, when it comes to the repurposing, that's how you'll just naturally get a high average view duration on your video. Next thing, so I already covered that. Next thing you want to cover is the engagement. So when it comes to engagement on your video, the Instagram algorithm rewards content that gets shared in the DMs or saved for later view. And if you're like, who is this random guy? By the way, this is Adam Mazzolari. I probably butchered his name, but he's like the CEO of Instagram, and he's literally said that shares are the most important metric when it comes to engagement. And he didn't say this, but I thought of this naturally myself. Saves are also one of the most important, and I'll explain why, right? So shares, why is it the most important? Well, think about it from Instagram's perspective. They want as many people on the platform as possible. So when you share a video with your friend then opens the video, and now he's on the platform, or she, or whatever, right? So obviously they want as many shares as possible, and you will actually, next time you scroll on Instagram Reels, look at every video which you see that pops up, almost every video you see that pops up, which has a ton of views or a ton of likes or ever done very well, that Instagram is pushing it into the algorithm. You'll see if a video has 1 million likes, it probably mostly all the time has a very, very high amount of shares in relation to that. So you'll see pretty much all the content that you see that Instagram is pushing has a lot of shares. So you want to make shareable content. The second one is saves. The reason that Instagram values saves a lot is because when people save your video, let's say for example you see like I don't know, you're scrolling and you see a baking tutorial, like how to bake this certain loaf of bread. You save the video as a tutorial. You're saving it so that you can come back to the video later that night when you actually want to bake the piece of bread. And so when you're saving it, what happens is Instagram's like, okay, he's saving it. If this people are saving this content, that means that this piece of content is bringing people back onto the platform later today or later in the week or whatever. So it's keeping people more engaged with the platform, right? And so you want to prioritize for shares and saves. But most importantly, just remember to design your content to be shareable. This is so easy to do. It's not like super complicated to do this. Like literally in some of my videos, I just say, send this to your bro, or I put it in the caption or something like that. There's more specific things I could go into about like making the content shareable, but to not overcomplicate it, it's just, put a simple thing in the pinned comment, send this to a friend who needs to get back in the gym, or put it in the caption or put it in the video. You get the point, right? Phase 3, man, and you can see we're already on phase 3 out of 6. Stick with me. Like I said, don't go and freaking watch some Iman Gotchi video. If you're looking at the comments, lock back in on the video now. But phase 3 is setting up your monetization pipeline, right? So now comes the setup and the design of your funnel. Now, just keep this in mind for different accounts, right? For one account, this funnel might work better. For a different account, this other funnel might work better. So there's no one shoe fits all system, right? There's like different systems and different funnels which work better for different accounts in this niche or in this niche, or you get the point, right? So there's no one shoe fits all. But what I'm going to show you here is probably the shoe that fits mostly all accounts the best, right? So the system which works best for both accounts is you have obviously Instagram, right? Then you send them to your front end and then to the back end. Now the front end pretty much with all is the best is setting up a newsletter where you can literally set it up so that people just sign up and you get paid for free without them having to do anything or buy anything from you or anything like that. That's probably for most pages that's the best form of front end monetization. Like I said, for a different page it might not be the best. Maybe for this other page you might want to do it differently. And then after that, you have the backend monetization, right? And so that's where you have a lot more variety in terms of what you could do. You could have a digital product, you could affiliate someone's product, you could affiliate a physical product, you could sell a high ticket thing, a recurring thing. There's a lot more options that you can go with there on the backend. First thing though, like I said, you'll need to set up your ManyChat account to automate direct messages based on common triggers. That's very important. You have that set up. Then because you're going to use that to drive traffic, you need to create your newsletter sign up page. It's pretty simple to do. The best platform to do this on is something called Beehive. That's a platform, and it works very simply. People enter their email here, they click start now, and then if you do this, you'll see they'll essentially get a pop up which says, "Hey, you just subscribed to this newsletter. I also recommend these other ones that you should subscribe to. If you will subscribe to these other newsletters pay you for getting them a new subscriber." So it's like newsletter referrals, and they don't have to pay you a dime. They just do it for completely free. All right. So very, very powerful form of monetization there. You can set this up on a video called Beehive. By the way, if you want, like you could just comment like, hey, if you want to actually know how to set this up practically. I made a full walkthrough video of this. If you just comment, I'll just give you the link. It's not going to be like some sign up. You have to opt in. I'm literally just going to give you the video link to watch it. So you want to set that up, and then next you want to use, like, once people are in your front end monetization system of just signing up, like that's just the sign up there. You want to use your email marketing platform to monetize people on the back end. Now, the best way to do this by far is to do what's called an automated email sequence. Now, I kind of had an advantage when I did this because I'd already dabbled around in copywriting a little bit, and I had a lot of experience of watching different business videos and involving myself in other people's businesses, helping them out and stuff like that, with emails and stuff. And so, like, just to show you how powerful this works so well that literally on the conversion rates of one of my digital products, I went from converting 0.5% of people to converting 7% of people. That's a 14x. It's ridiculous. Like, that's taking a business from doing $1,000 to $14,000. Now that's an extreme example, but you get the point, right? Like, it's ridiculous how well this can work if you do it correctly. It's a little bit more complicated. Like I said, if you want me to do it, just apply to my personal mentorship. I'll literally write pretty much the entire thing for you. But you want to set this up for your page. Now, the reason this works is a lot of people, a big mistake a lot of Instagram pages do is they directly try to sell people on digital products. This can work okay-ish, and I've done it with some pages, and it's not the worst thing to do. But this is very similar to like going up to a girl who you've never met before and asking her to marry you, but you've never even talked to her before. It's like you got to build that relationship before, right? What do you do? Instead of going ask her to marry you the first time, you go up to her, you get her number, you say, you text her the day later, like, hey, me and the guys are going out tonight. You want to come hang out, bring some friends along, you set up some dates, you get the point, you build that relationship and nurture over time before you ask her to marry you. This is kind of what you're doing here. You're giving people something for free. You're still making money when they sign up to your newsletter, but then you're monetizing them through this basically very detailed sequence, which eventually leads into you selling them into something, whether it's a digital product, affiliate, whatever it may be. You set up one of these. The other way you can monetize people in the back end, by the way, very, very well, is with stories. So this is one of the most underrated features ever, which people don't use enough, is stories. So you gotta understand, when you're posting content, like just posting a video on Instagram or a reel or something, you get 1 million views, or you get 100,000 views, or whatever, how many views you get. Out of those views, like 90% of them will be people who aren't following you. And maybe you'll only get like 5% of your views are people who are already following you. What that means is every time you're posting, you're appealing to a new cold audience. And so you can't really nurture people with posts. You can't create like a sequence which nurtures people eventually into selling them. On the other hand, with stories, when you post a story, the only people really seeing your story are followers. And so when you're posting a story day after day after day in a consistent format, that's followers seeing it again and again and again. And so you can nurture them with a sequence through your story, but just posting generally there. And so this is why you probably see me say, like, I'm not a big fan of just going directly to a paid digital product straight from your posts, but you can do it from your stories, because with your stories, you're appealing and you're marketing to a much more warm audience. So, like I said, the guy, he's a coach inside my personal mentorship. So if you join, you can get coached by him. He's literally done like $60,000, $20,000 this month, a little bit more the previous month, in the past 60,000 in the past 2 months, just from selling a digital product from his page. And the way he markets it, he doesn't even market it in his posts or anything like that. He just does it with his stories. And sure, he could drive a lot more traffic to the page with his story, with his post, but such a small percentage of those people would actually convert. It's much better for him to just do it through his stories, where he gets a very high converting audience. So here's the exact tech stack I recommend. Tech stack means like the different apps or different things you might need to download. So you'll definitely need ManyChat for the automated Instagram messaging. That's a non-negotiable. You 100% need it. If you're going to do the newsletter, you want to do it on Beehive to set up your newsletter. Like I said, if you want to set it up, just comment on the video. I'll reply with the video. Like, I'm not going to try and sell you anything through that. It's not some marketing scheme. I'm literally just going to give you the video. And then you'll also want a platform to host your digital product. So this could be one like Stand Store. You could host your digital product on WAP. They're pretty good. You could host your product on Gumroad. They're not bad. They take a lot of the commissions, a lot of your sale. Though. There's different products to host it on. I would say probably if I could only choose one, I'd probably choose WAP. But depending on the different kind of product you're doing, different platforms might work better, right? So you want to do that, and then there are some other tech things here and there which can be useful and you might want to use. Obviously, you'll need the Instagram app, but specifically for your funnel, this is like really what you need. Now, I know that seems complicated, right? It might seem complicated, especially if you're like new to this and stuff, but this is a very, very key and important aspect here, right? Where this is a very important aspect you want to take into account. When it comes to okay, so this is an important analogy which I hope it makes sense. When it comes to setting up your funnel, it's complicated at first, but once you set it up once, it just works on autopilot for the most part for you. Sure, there's some maintenance, but you get the point. This is very similar to if I handed you a bunch of random metals and stuff and I was like, build a bike for me. You might be a little bit confused on building a bike, and you might need to follow a tutorial to build a bike, and you're like, man, this is going to be so hard to do and stuff like that. But the nice thing is, once you build the bike once, you never have to build it again. You just get on the bike and pedal. And so it's the same thing here, where you're building your funnel, you're doing like all this complicated, hard stuff or whatever. But once you built it once, all you have to do from that point out is you just need to drive traffic through your funnel, which just means posting on Instagram. And so it's very similar to like, it's very similar to riding a bike, right? Once you've built the bike, once it's built, all you do is just pedal. Similar here. Once your funnel's in place, it's literally just a matter of just posting content and driving people into your funnel. So phase 4 is creating content that drives action. So this isn't the same as just general niche content. Like I said, you have content which is just there to help out people, entertain them, get views, grow your page and stuff. Then you also have content which it's strategically crafted to trigger specific actions. So call to actions, which are then going to drive people into your funnel. So this means that in your content, you should have CTAs. CTA stands for call to action. So like, click the link in my bio, go do this, like this video. That's a call to action. So if I say right now, subscribe to my channel, that's a call to action. That's what it is. So the CTAs in your content should, and I'm going to explain to you how to create a CTA right now. And I'm going to give you the example of if I was creating a call to action around this niche, right? So first of all, right, the looks maxing niche, so how men can become more attractive. First of all, in your call to action, you want to identify a problem your audience has, right? So a big one in the looks maxing is people are like, oh, is my face symmetrical? If you ask me, it's pretty stupid if you ask me, but whatever. That's a big problem which a lot of people in that niche worry about. So you identify a problem they have. So it could be like, oh, your face is symmetrical. Then you agitate that problem by showing its consequences. So you say, hey, well, if you're asymmetrical, you're going to be ugly. If you're ugly, you're not going to be able to get girls. If you can't get girls, you're going to be lonely, etc. Agitate that problem by showing its consequences. Because you could point out a lot of things wrong with people, but if it doesn't have an effect on their life, they're not going to care, right? Obviously. Then you want to hint at a solution. You're like, okay, all that bad stuff, but there's a solution to this if you're interested. Just hint at it, right? Then that's where you direct them to take a specific action, like commenting a keyword to access the solution. Commenting a keyword like comment X to get my free guide, or clicking the link in my bio or something, right? So this is like what it would look like all put together. It would be something like, the number one reason you're not attractive is that your face is asymmetrical. Identifying the problem. This is making you unconfident and unattractive to girls. Showing them the consequences of that problem, right? If they don't fix it. If you want to make your face more symmetrical, I made a full guide on how. Hinting at a solution. Just comment X to get it, and then now you're driving them to take a specific action in order to get that, right? So all put together, it sounds something like this. You could put this in your video, you could put it in the pinned comment, in the caption, whatever it is, right? The number one reason you're not attractive is that your face is asymmetrical. This is making you unconfident and unattractive to girls. If you want to make your face more symmetrical, I made a full guide on how. Just comment X to get it. That's what it would sound like. Now, phase 5. That's pretty simple. Just a call to action there. Email marketing fundamentals, right? So when it comes to email marketing, right, because you've got them on your front end monetization, they sign up to your newsletter. Now, how do you monetize them onto the back end right there, right? This isn't about just bombarding them with offers. It's about building a relationship that makes those offers welcome. That's what you got to understand here, right? So think about it like a bucket of water. When it comes to just content or anything in general, you can build goodwill with your audience. And every time you ask them to do something, so like if I ask you right now, please go buy my course, link in bio. It's like, man, this guy's trying to sell me something. This guy's trying to promote me something. And I'm losing a little bit of goodwill with my audience. But then on the other hand, when I drop a full in-depth video guide, which really breaks everything down like this, which most people charge for in a course, and I just give you for free, that builds goodwill. You're like, man, this guy's awesome. This guy's great. And so when you're giving people value, you're filling up that bucket of goodwill. And then every time that you're promoting or selling people something, or trying to get them to take an action, you're taking a little bit of that goodwill away from that bucket, and then you got to fill it up again, and then you got to take away. Now, if you're just constantly promoting, constantly selling, constantly asking people to do something, you're never going to have that substantial goodwill to actually get them to take it, because you can't take water from the bucket if the bucket's already empty, right? So you got to fill it up with goodwill before you do that. And so your email strategy should follow at least a minimum of this rhythm, where it's value, 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 offer, right? Overwhelm your email list with value, and then you could present the offer there. So if you do it like this, where you're doing at least 3 emails in a row with value before you even think of presenting one as an offer, providing value 3 times before making an offer will keep your email rate at 75% value and 25% promoting, which is a pretty good, 25% promoting. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, but that limits, how much I can promote. Now I can't promote as much. Well, what you can do is you can increase the frequency, because it's not about how many times you promote. If you promote 10 times versus 50 times, that's not what the difference is. The difference is the percentage of how much your overall thing is that you're promoting. Because you could have a huge bucket of water, and if you put, I don't know, if you put like a tiny bit of dirt in it, like if you put a tiny bit of dirt in the ocean, it's not going to make the ocean dirty, because there's so much more water. It's overwhelmed with water, just like you're overwhelmed with value. On the other hand, you could take that little piece of dirt, put it in a glass of water. That glass of water is going to be black, fully dirty, right? So maybe not the best analogy, but you get the point, right? It's all about the percentage. It's not about just how much you're promoting. So if you're like, man, I want to promote more, then it's like, okay, well, also start sending more emails. As long as you keep that percentage the same, then you're good. Right. So when it comes to the frequency of the emails, you can do 1 per day. You can also, I've seen some do only 1 per month at the most. But the most important thing is that you can find a rhythm which you're consistent with, because it'll nurture your list to open your emails more of a time. So this is an example of someone who I personally mentored before. He made like literally $800 in his first week. It was like 700 to 800 with his newsletter. And like I said, the kind of emails, when I say like just value, it doesn't have to be like a tutorial or some guide that you give every time, because actually you'll just overwhelm people with too much, or they won't even consume it. It could just be like a little tip or a little trick or an interesting story or just anything general like that, where you're not necessarily promoting anything. Um, then here you have the email flow. All right. So like I said, I went into full detail on this. If you want a video on it, just comment and I'll give you the link for that there. But this is very powerful if you do this correctly. But this an email flow obviously just takes them through an entire journey, which eventually leads up to a sale, promoting them to sell them on something. Right. Now, a very important thing which a lot of people overlook is that you got to keep in mind your emails can only convert if it gets opened. All right, so you could write the best email in the world, but if nobody on your list actually opens the email from their inbox, clicks on it, and reads it, you're not going to get anywhere. So you want to prioritize for open rate. You want to have a good open rate on your emails. And so when it comes to your emails, the number one most important thing for your open rates is the headline of your email. So you guys know when you're looking in your inbox, they'll give you like a title for the email or kind of like a headline. So that's what you want to optimize there, because that will decide whether or not people want to click on your email and read it. Just like, for example, if people click on your YouTube video and watch it or not, right? It's about the title and the thumbnail. Obviously, you don't have thumbnails and emails, so it just comes down to the title. Now, these are the different formats of titles which can work well. And you want to take one of these formats and model after them. So you have the curiosity grab. So this could be something like, you could say, for example, the unusual Instagram trick that's working right now. And this, obviously, people are just curious, so they just want to find out what it is, and so they click on it, right? This could be the secret supplement that can help you burn body fat, which nobody's talking about. Wow, I really want to find out what that supplement is. And so people click and open the email to find out whatever it is because they're curious. Next, you have the specific promise, right? So it's like how to get your first 1,000 followers in 30 days. Now, for this one, the specific promise, you really have to understand your audience and your email list, because whether or not this will result in a high open rate all determined by what that promise is and how it relates to your audience. So if, for example, let's say I have an email list where everybody on my email list has 1 million followers in their Instagram page, and I said how to get your first 1,000 followers, no one's going to open that, because if they already have 1 million followers, they're not going to read an email about how to get your first 1,000 followers. They're not even going to be interested in it. So it all comes down to understanding your audience fit there. If you can hit it off, it can work very well. The next is the personal approach. So this is just saying something like quick question about your Instagram growth. You can even use the name in their emails, like, Mark, what are your thoughts on this? Just something like that. It's very authentic. People feel a connection to it. They open it a lot. Then you have the scarcity angle. So it's like, this Instagram opportunity won't last long. Whenever there's scarcity, people take action, right? 99.9% of the time when there's scarcity, people take action on it. And then lastly, you have the simple notification, like your free guide is ready, or your download is now ready to update, or something like that, right? Now, the notification works simply because people, like, they've literally done studies on this with this specific kind of opening email line. People are just so programmed to click on notifications that when they see something like this, they literally just view it as a notification in their subconscious and they just open it. So you want to use one of these. Now, the important mistake which you don't want to make is you don't want to just use the same one every single time, because what you'll do is you'll build up audience fatigue. So if you're only using the curiosity gap in all of your emails, eventually your list is going to be like, all right, man, I'm just getting tired of this. It's like, for example, if you live in a random town in Michigan, like where I do, right? If I drive a Lamborghini through a random town in Michigan, or if you see a Lamborghini in a random town in Michigan, like, everyone's like, "Oh, that's a Lamborghini! I can't believe it! Wow, let me record with my phone. You're running after it. You're following." It's like, wow, it's a Lamborghini. On the other hand, if you see a Lamborghini in Dubai, you're like, okay, I literally just saw a Bugatti and I saw a Ferrari before that. You get the point. It's because it's fatigue, right? So if it's that action of people recording the car or whatever, or having the reaction to it, people will have less of a reaction of opening your email if you're spamming them with the same one over and over again, because they'll get fatigued of like that tip or trick that you're using to get them to open the email list, of making them curious or giving them a specific promise or whatever it may be, right? So so don't use the same one, use a mix of those, right? Your subject line also, you need to keep in mind, your subject line should make it clear what value awaits inside, right? And then lastly, phase 6, scaling your system. This is by far the most fun phase of all. So once your funnel is operating successfully, it's then time to just simply scale. So this guy right here, Elite IG Philip, this is another account that I'm personally mentoring. When he first started out monetizing, right, he made about $30 in his first week. And he was like, man, this isn't that too great, Mark. $30, okay, it's whatever. It's nothing crazy, right? Me, I was like, dude, let's freaking go, man. Like, I was hype. I was like, dude, this is insane. And he was like, man, it's only $30. I was like, it's only $30 now, but once we scale it, it's going to be way more. Literally, he went from the first week he did $30 in revenue. The next week he did 250-ish. So almost 10x it. And then that month he ended up doing about $1,000. The next month, $3,000, right? So he went from $30 to 3,000, right? And so because all he saw was the $30. What I saw was the scaling potential of that, because this scaling is so easy and it brings unyielded when it comes to scaling, it doesn't mean just working more hours. What it means is you're optimizing your system to produce greater results with the same or less effort. So the week where he did $30 and the week where he did $250, it's not like he worked 10 times the amount of time or the amount of effort or whatever. Like literally all he did was he just fixed the system and stuff like that, right? So when it comes to scaling, you want to ask yourself, is what I'm doing working? Okay, is it working? Yes. Then you move on to phase two. How can I do what's already working but better? So how can I improve the conversion rates on my about page and all this different kind of stuff? Then you ask yourself, how can I just do more volume with that, right? How can you get more views on my posts? How can you get more followers? How can you get more people into my funnel and stuff, right? So this is an example. You could ask yourself, is selling my product through my emails working? Yes, it is. Okay, I'm going to increase my open rate percentage and my click-through rate percentage. That'll make the system better. And then you say, okay, now instead of sending 2 emails per week, I'm going to do 4, right? So that's how you scale. And one of the most powerful things about this is that you can optimize your funnel to increase conversion rates at each step, right? So you could, for example, this right here was a great example of me scaling, where right here, I was at 2,847 with a 1.53% conversion rate. Took my conversion rate from 1.53 to 4.4% and 2.9x that. So from $2,800 to $8,000 with literally like no extra amount of work. Like all I did was just make some edits on my about page and my conversion rates went up, right? Not very hard to do. And so, once you're at that point where you can scale, it's so much easier to succeed. Now, here's a brief summary of the 6 phases. Like I said, phase 1, select your niche. Phase 2, create your content strategy. Phase 3, monetization pipeline. Phase 4, create content that drives action. Phase 5, email marketing. And phase 6, scaling. Like I said, once you get to scaling, the rest is just so easy. Now, I want to just leave you with this one principle before, which is very important to keep in mind. This might seem like all confusing at once, right? And it's like, man, there's all this different stuff I need to do. Don't get caught up in trying to do all this different stuff at once, because when you're driving a car at night, you have your lights on, you can only see about 10 or 15 feet in front of you. What would happen though if you're driving your car at night and you start worrying about what's 200 feet or what's 300, 400 feet in front of you? You'd crash the car, right? Because you'd start driving unevenly, you might make the wrong turn, you'd eventually crash the car. When you're driving at night, you only focus on what's ahead of you. If you go and try to if you're starting as a beginner, if you go and try to create your page and also your content strategy and also your newsletter, all this different kind of stuff at once, you're not going to get anywhere. You need to just take it one step at a time. Okay, let me choose my niche. Okay, once this is done, I've chosen a good niche. Let me do this next step by step by step. Take it step by step. Don't overwhelm yourself with too much stuff, right? Now, if you're like, well, what do I actually do every day, which is going to get me there? I created this. This might help you if you're confused on what to do. It's the rule of 30. Every day, 30 minutes of content creation, 30 minutes of monetization tasks, 30 minutes of learning, right? And this will give you around 1.5 to 2 hours of daily minimum commitment to your page and just to this business model in general. If you follow that over a long enough time frame, you will eventually be successful with it, right? So you now have the roadmap to build a profitable Instagram monetization system. Some of you will take this information and implement on your own, and that's perfectly fine. Awesome to you. Congrats on that, right? But I know that some of you want to move faster. You want to basically just succeed on your first time without having to wait a long time. You want to hit 50K followers in your first month or whatever it is, right? If you're nodding your head right now, that sounds like you. You want to just get there as fast as possible without having to worry about whether you're doing it correctly, without having to learn all this extra stuff. And by the way, what I uncovered in this video, even though it's an hour, is just the surface, right? There's so much more. Like I could literally sit here talking for another 7 or 8 hours about this stuff, right? But then obviously there'd be like 2 people watching at the end. So if you're nodding your head right now, I have a special opportunity for a select few of you. If you want one-on-one help from me and other coaches, so I have a personal mentorship program. It's one-on-one help from me and other coaches, so you get personalized one-on-one help from me and all that I've achieved. There's also another coach in there who literally has done $60,000 in the past 2 months with his page, and he has millions of followers on his pages. There's another coach who's done 20,000 followers in 1 month with his newsletter. So very great results. If you want help from me and those other guys personally getting on one-on-one calls with us, full courses showing you exactly what to do, like actual one-on-one calls, where you can just pretty much just fast track your success. If you're interested, then book a call and we'll see if you're a good fit for it. So if you're interested in that, there'll be a top link in the description. You can go there, book a call. call. If I think you're a good fit, then we can move ahead with that. But yeah, if you're interested, go book a call below. And these calls will be taken by me personally, I guarantee it. But at the end of our call, you'll have absolute clarity on exactly what you need to do to be successful with this. And if we think you're a good fit, maybe we'll take you on to the mentorship. That's a maybe. I can't make any promises, but we'll see. Other than that, drop a like on the video, subscribe, freaking spam the algorithm so I can get any more views. Please, I need the views, please. I'm joking. But yeah, just click the top link in the bio and then go book a call with me. See you later. Hope you found this video valuable.